welcome to, well, Pocket Giraffe Knits returns. It's really nice to have you back. If you are new, it is really nice to meet you. It's been a while, so grab a drink. I'm going to sit and talk to you about what I've been making. How have we been? I have been busy, poorly. We have had a change of venue. For those of you who don't know, my name's Rachel. I am mum of two. Those two there, married to, oh, hang on, that one there. And I live in Leicestershire. I am at home, and I am at home because I am disabled. I have physical and mental health problems. I make no secret of those. And making is what keeps me going. This is difficult. I'm out of practice. We're downstairs today because my mobility has been an issue. So I felt that it would be easier for me to sit here where I can grab everything and not climb up the stairs, because I have a tendency to fall down those stairs. So yeah, we'll avoid that. The rules are the dog is sat in my chair. I would like to say she's currently sat in my armchair, loving her life. If somebody walks past, you will hear a woof. We're in my front room, obviously. So I've been away. Part of that has been ill health. I have a collection, a fun collection of mental health conditions. If you've been here before, you will know my repertoire. But I have borderline personality disorder. Not a serial killer. People with personality disorders, I've heard phrases like manipulative, and there's some very negative things that can be said about personality disorders. I prefer emotional intensity disorder. I feel things very, very, very strongly. I don't have a grey area. I'm very black and white in my life, and I can be very, very anxious, depressed, and struggle. And as a result of sharing something online, a lesson to everybody, I decided to share one of my, oh my goodness, my nearly teenage daughter's driving me insane moments. And I got sent some quite nasty messages. It was really unpleasant. I have had some time to reflect since then. I wonder if people thought that they were trying to help, but they didn't. And they actually made me feel really bad. And for a while, I couldn't face putting myself out there in this way and risking that happening again. So I took a break. And then at the weekend, I went to the Walmonty. I'll talk about it a bit more in a bit. And I bumped into Katie from the PGKnits and Laura from the Lonely Knitter. And we had a chat. And they were sort of like, do it, get back to it. And then I bumped into the Cox triplets of Knit 3 Together. And they said the same. And I thought, do you know what? This is silly. So I'm back. And I hope everybody has been really well. I started some new medication as well. So I had the fun of withdrawing from one medication in order to start another. If you need to do it, you need to do it, right? But it's not fun. I'm not a fun person to live with that. But I have also had to accept that I have got to start living as though I have a disability, and not just fighting on through it and being, I'm okay, because I'm not. So that's why we're downstairs today, because I'll get in trouble if I just fight my way up the stairs, even though I know there's a high possibility I could still be up there and the kids need to come back, and our bathroom's downstairs. That's not good. So today I thought, plonk myself on the floor. The dog's in my armchair. She's loving her life. If there's a woof, it's because I'm in a terraced house. We're right by the road. It's likely that the dog will see people and go, but we'll be all right. But it does mean I've got some finished stuff to show you. I've got some new stuff to show you. I'm not going to show you the stuff that I've showed you before that I haven't even touched. Yeah. So shall we crack on? I'll throw in some more anecdotes of what I've been up to, I'm sure. Right, so first things first, I decided to embark on a little adventure. I've never test knit before. I've watched loads of people do it, and I'm always like, oh my God, these patterns are brilliant. And if you go on to me, don't go on to me. It's a very bumpy ride. If you go onto Instagram, I have actually saved it. In a previous life, I was a Senko, and I have some input into how we could potentially help some people, not everybody, but some people, with accessing patterns that are currently difficult to see. Sometimes things are written and it's really hard to see, and I think I've mentioned this in a previous episode. But anyway, I thought perhaps being involved in the test knitting process might be a way to help with that. So I contacted Katie from PGKnits. This is inside out, that's helpful, isn't it? See that little flash there? So I contacted Katie. She was looking for somebody who was my size-ish. And she wanted somebody to knit her top / cover up. It's called the Bencham top. Kind of sits like this. If you go onto my Instagram, again, I've not put it up on Ravelry yet because the pattern's not been released. When that comes, I think the 21st of this month, it will be, my picture will be up there. You'll be able to see that. And you'll be able to see me in all my glory in my wheelchair if you go onto my Instagram post at the moment. This yarn, oh, it's beaut. This is, can you see? Matches my nails beautifully, doesn't it? This is Rosarios 4, and it's their Mar colourway. They're a Portuguese brand, and I got this from Knit Nottingham. Eleanor knitted a sample piece for the shop. Emma wore it on Yarn Shop Day. I think I might need to knit that as well. But this yarn, it's a cotton linen mix. There's a little bit of acrylic or nylon in there. It doesn't stretch, you know, like linen has a real habit of growing. It doesn't grow in quite that same way. It's beautifully soft. It's got the most gorgeous sheen, and it's lightweight. So I'm gonna have to knit something out. Even if I just buy the yarn and knit it for next year, I'm gonna have to knit for it and knit with it again, because it was an absolute pleasure. And there's all these little like flecks, can you see? So you've got really, really, really deep blue, wow, dark blue almost, but then you've got these beautiful flecks. Can you see? Can my head up there? There's some real flecks of royal blue, there's some sort of goldy colours, there's greeny turquoise, there's some slate grey in there, and it's fun to knit with, because if you're knitting, so this has got, I would say the first bit of stocking stitch is a slog, but you know that it's going to be worth it. And it's a very simple pattern and very adaptable for you and what will suit you. I love this, and I was saying to my husband, it's one of those things I can wear over stuff. It's one of those things that I can wear just over a vest top with jeans, or leggings, which is what I'm wearing with my in my picture. I was saying I could, you know, just affix like one of these sort of camis, and a skirt, because I'm a bit body conscious about my tummy. But also I'm going to buy myself a really nice oversized white shirt, and I thought it could look quite nice over that as well. You know, when you're in that sort of in between, it's not really hot. In fact, basically what summer is in Britain this year, thanks nature. I'm not even a hot weather person. Like, I'm ginger. Crispy fried ginger is not a fun thing, right? But I like the summer because the kids love it. My husband loves it. We go out, you sit out in the garden of an evening. Apparently we're not having that this year. This time last year, right, we were all going, Jesus, when are we going to have some end to this sun? Like, what is going on? We were I was already crispy fried ginger. The kids' sports day, I spent the entire time sat under a tree going, I'm going to die. I am actually going to die of heat. But apparently, we're not having that at all this year. I'm really hoping that maybe come July, August, we have a bit of a, you know, maybe winter, maybe nature is saving this all up, and we'll have an amazing summer when the kids are off school. cross your fingers, guys. Pray to whoever you believe in, or do me some meteorological forecasts if you don't. That'd be great. Anyway, so I want to get myself a shirt, a nice white shirt that I can wear this sort of over. Kind of look, I'll like it, all right? Whether that's your style or not, that's not your problem, because you don't, I'm not asking you to wear it. Okay, thanks, bye. Right, no, don't go. Okay, so that's my first finished object, and it's absolutely gorgeous. The pattern is out on the 21st of June. Katie, I hope you price your patterns properly, because she does sort of sock patterns and things. She charges £1.20 or something. Bargain. It is, and it's a framework pattern. It's a little bit like sort of the say faded and that sort of thing. Make it your own. So that's number one. I'm not wearing it today because arms. I've got an impressive bingo wing thing going on. And then the second thing I finished. My friends, I'm looking for the right buttons, okay, and it's taking me ages. And I'm absolutely convinced that until I find these buttons, this baby's not coming out. I feel terrible because she's overdue. So my job tomorrow is to go and find buttons, right? This is knit King Cole in it's Doodle. Hold it up. See the little flecks of rainbows, and this is a little rainbow baby. And oh, I can't wait. So I've got a stitch match marker to mark where my buttons are going to go. But isn't it just, look how teeny tiny it is? And this is the second size. I don't tend to knit the first size because they're that dinky for ages. I started on the first size and I was like, that is just too small. Like, that's got to be for a premature baby. It's not at all. It's just a basic raglan cardigan. You know, when people have babies, I realised I used to just make blankets. I do love a little knitted cardigan. It's actually why I started knitting, because I loved Abigail in Little Knitted Cardigans, and a little baby growing a little knitted. It's just so cute. But I didn't have in my sort of stash. Excuse me. Just folder holders back in place. I didn't have a pattern, just a basic raglan pattern. I've not done one enough to have one memorised. So I went over to Knit Nottingham, my favourite place in the entire world, and Eleanor fished out a few. I picked one, just a nice basic. I like a raglan sleeve, especially for children's clothes. I just feel it's easier for them to get their arms into. And it's a little cardigan and a jumper and a blanket, and I just thought, that's so perfect. Like, oh, gift, and it's in my library now, you know. Maybe one day I'll have grandchildren or something, because I feel like my baby factory might be shut. So King Cole Doodle is actually King Cole pattern, but it's just a basic raglan cardigan pattern. And this is an acrylic. So stick it. I understand, like, a lot of people do knit baby stuff, and they use wool, and all power to your elbow, guys. I'm gonna say, possibly combined with my mental health and my, at the time, undiagnosed health issues, I get time for hand washing. And I know you say superwash can go in the washing machine, but I have a cardigan I'll show you next week. Don't put the buggers in the washing machine. I might have had the spin on too high or something, but you know, if you're not knitting for a knitter or crocheting for anybody that deals with yarn, or just somebody who's going to be busy, they don't want to have to sit and work out how to wash it if it's not simple. So I always kind of go for something that's pretty hardy in the acrylic-y type thing, unless I use a wool that I know personally isn't, and also like allergies and ugh. So yeah, I go with off the shelf basic stuff, because number one, they ain't going to be in it long enough. Excuse my English, mum, love you, but they're not going to be in it long enough. people might save it for a second, they might pass it on. I don't want someone to feel emotionally attached to something. I equally want them to be able to pass it on, knowing that it's going to be fine. So thinking the carbonated drinks might have been a mistake. I apologise. Oh, I didn't want anyone that I do swear, but I think by now you've probably worked that out. Or have I been good? Who knows? So that's what I finished. I have been bitting and bobbing on other things, but with the withdrawal and obviously the anxiety that came from everything else, I was really struggled with my concentration. I've kind of been in and out of bits and pieces. Excuse me. Leicester Tigers. My husband's a massive rugby fan. I don't give myself glasses because basically I'm a toddler in a woman's body. I everywhere, always knocking stuff over. I even have a travel cup for my tea when I'm having a neuropathy day. So yeah, that's what I finished. I have started some things though. I'm not going to show you my Stockbridge cardigan because it's like 40 odd rows of back and forth and fingering weight. It's very boring and it doesn't look like I've done anything. And to be honest, I've not done a huge amount, but I have done this. Do you remember? If you don't, go back and have a wee look. I went to Yarn Shop Day, Knit Nottingham, funnily enough. Bamboo cotton. It's so beautiful and it just gives me the pleasure. And this, look at this lace. Mum, I did lace. Okay, it took me 3 attempts. When your concentration's not great, word of warning, lace is going to make you say lots of bad words. I think the dog thought she was in trouble. It's beautiful and shiny, but it does yarn bath pretty easily. But yeah, I'm so proud of myself because I normally don't have the concentration. I was going to do the jumper, which is all up the doing this. I could edit it, probably not gonna. Yeah, so I don't tend to have the concentration for lace. I'm not gonna lie, I was relieved when it was done. So that's why I didn't do the jumper that got it all at the front. But now I've done it, I feel a bit more confident. And it was all about just going, shut up, I'm counting an awful lot. It was one of those ones that I did while the kids were out. And the husband was out, because to be fair, the kids are pretty good. It's the husband that's the bloody issue. Like, he just doesn't get shut up, I'm counting, and his stupid games on that. I like, he actually plays one that I'm like, I'll sit and knit and he plays and I'm like, I actually feel car sick, I'm going to go upstairs. Anyway, so they were very distracting. It meant it took 3 attempts, but I did it. Did it, Mum? Look, Mum, I did lace. Mum, did lace. Yeah. So I'm really proud of myself. So now we're just into that bit where you gotta keep knitting until you start on your decreases. So it's actually quite nicely shaped. It's got a little bit of a waist in and out. And then it will be the sleeves, then the front panels. It's a little cardigan. I want to crack on and get it done, but I just felt like I needed a palette cleanser, something a bit different. I had been sort of working on the same couple of things and I was getting a bit bored, so I wasn't doing anything. And that's no good, is it? So also, we'll address the hair before we go any further. Because basically I said basically an awful lot. I do apologise, it's probably really annoying. It was beautiful this morning. It's humid. Because it's still summer temperatures, it's just very rainy. Apparently we live in a rainforest. And I turn into a lion when that happens. So yeah, I'm actually, it feels like I'm wearing a scarf, but I'm sure you'll live. It's a knitting podcast, Rachel. Do you like my peonies, by the way? Aren't they pretty? Frilly, my favourite flower in the whole world. That's an orchid. If you care. You probably don't, but I'm just going to share with you. And then I started. Now I bought myself this stuff at Yarndale. It's all a bit bunched up on the needles. I probably need to go up a cable size, but hey ho, I'm enjoying myself. It's not bothering me. I bought most of the yarn for this at Yarndale last year. I wanted to do one, and I went off and I got all the skeins. Now, do you remember I made that purpley pink flecked skein? I put some silver and then I put the colours over the top. I was very early on, and I've been playing with my dyeing ever since, but I wanted to start knitting up some of the stuff that I'd done just to see what it knit up like, because it's all very well and good making the skeins look pretty when you've first done them, but what do they knit up like? So I thought, I know, let's have a look and see if this will go with the colours that I chose for my So Faded. It'd give me a bit of extra meterage to play with. That's my colour. I did that. I want to just show you. Now the So Faded pattern actually has you do sort of like a garter bump bit here, so you'd be purling on the sleeve, the bit that's going to sit here. Now you can see I'm not a slim girl. It is what it is. But I'm also very broad-shouldered across here, and I don't have the slimmest arms. Now, I use a wheelchair. I'm not a small girl, and I have to push this ass up hills, and I can. Sometimes out of breath, rarely out of breath. I take that as quite a thing to be proud of, but it does mean that I am weighted higher up here. And I've been reading Amy Herzog. I'm sorry, I've annihilated that. The book is Knit to Flatter, and it's been really interesting. It is very body positive. It's about knitting so you feel good in your knits, not knitting something and thinking, oh, I could change this, I wish I'd changed that, but actually changing it as you go. And for me, adding garter bumps here is not something that's going to make me feel good when I wear it. It's going to make me feel bulky, and I can do that perfectly well with chocolate and cake and ice cream. Fruitcake's my thing at the moment. Yeah, can we just, let's have a moment. Let's think about cake, okay, or chocolate, whatever your sin is. Right, okay. So yeah, I do that quite effectively on my own. I don't need clothes to help me with that. So I started it with that, and then I've moved on. This bit here, that bit that's going to go across the top of my boobs, it's Baby Dragon. That's by Snuggly Stars Yarns, who I bumped into at the Wool Monty. She's an awesome human being. I met her at Yarndale, obviously, and she's just fabulous. And then I've moved on to another one. I have actually, hang on. Tip. This is Fairy Wishes. It's actually got a bit of a gold stellina fleck through it as well. Can you see? It's gonna sparkle. Yay! Sparkle, sparkle. My little bowl. And look at my cool little row counter. I've had this for ages. So you move the beads up and down. Anyway, Fairy Wishes. Fairy Wishes. And then I'm going to move on and do this one. And that is Girl from the Skerries, and that's Truly Hooked. This one is Unbelievable, and it was Ice Queen or Ice Maiden, and I got it in a Christmas box or a winter box a couple of years ago for a shawl. I never made it into the shawl, so I just figured I like the fade into the blue, and then if I need the extra yardage, because I'm quite long in the body but I do sit down, and I've spoken about this before, when you're in the wheelchair, what I may end up doing is adding a split hem onto this, because obviously when you sit down, you know, you can tell by your own jeans and stuff like that, they pull down a bit. Doing this, you can't blink and see. Pull down a bit at the back. Oh good, now very loud vans have decided to go past my house. Cheers DPD, I appreciate that. Oh, and yeah, delivery van. Anyway, but I'm a bit concerned that this one may end up micro stripe. I don't know. If I'm going to use it, I'm going to use it down by the ribbing, so that any sort of striping and stuff like that is not going to be an issue. But it's actually an extra skein. But yeah, I don't know where I got that one, but it was in the stash and it went. So yeah, we're going kind of purples through turquoise and pink, through blue and pink to blues. And I'm really enjoying it. I think it's the rapid colour changes, because I'm using so many colours, I'm changing quite frequently. And so I just keep kind of going, I'm going. But I think I'm going to love this. And that is what I'm working on. I obviously have other things, but I've shown you those and I've not made a huge amount of progress on them. So yeah, I'm just thinking, like, I literally haven't done anything else. I was going to do some sewing. I had all these great plans, and then basically I just sat and was miserable. Joshua shared his sore throat with me as well, which is marvellous. I've been using predominantly Manic Pro Zings, which I've mentioned before. I got as part of a subscription gift to the Knitter magazine, and I love them. I do love them. I've actually been adding, because I think the smallest size you go down to is the 3. So I've gone 3, 3.25, 3.5, 3.75, and the 3.5 came in the pack. And so I've added bits in, like the ones that I didn't have that I would use. Welcome to Fibrofab, guys. Yeah, and I am predominantly using those. I will say, because I am an advocate for making things affordable, I save up all year to go to. Excuse me, I am can't feel my legs, which isn't a bad thing, but at some point I have to try and get off the floor. I save up all year to go to Yarndale, all year, and if there's a grumbling sound in the background of this, it's my dog snoring. Izzy, stop it! Wakey, come on, woo! There we go. Yeah, I save up all year, and I go with the intention of buying bits and pieces. This year just gone, 2018, I knew I wanted to buy bits for So Faded, and so I literally went round buying single skeins, and I had saved all year to do so. I haven't got a huge amount saved put by, because I haven't this year. Money isn't what it sometimes it's tight, isn't it? But it doesn't stop me enjoying if I go to places. I do save up. I do have a little budget, which I will show you what I spent it on. And I take my Christmas money as well, basically because I know I'm going to buy it, but I know I'm also probably going to cast on like one thing that I buy at Yarndale before Christmas is over. So, yes, so that is one way of doing it. And something like a So Faded is brilliant, because you can buy single skeins that you absolutely love, and everyone's got colour preferences, haven't they? I mean, funnily enough, mine's are sort of pinks, blues, turquoises, stuff that suits me. And if you have a clear colour preference, what you fall in love with is going to all work together eventually anyway. But I decided that I wanted a day out. So on Saturday, I went to the Wall Monty. I took my best friend and we had a little road trip up the road to Sheffield. It takes me about 90 minutes-ish. Obviously, I have to factor in coffee breaks, because that's what you do, right? But I went there and it was brilliant. Like, they nailed accessibility. I've been to that venue before for a Slipknot gig. For all my pink and fluffy, my music taste would not go with it. Yeah, so I have been there before. I knew it was a reasonably accessible building, but they nailed it, because it was where it was and it was in the arena. It was nice and big and airy, and there were quite a few people there. I mean, I don't know what the attendance was, it's none of my business, but it seemed like there was a steady flow of people, but it wasn't crowded. When you went to sit down, there was plenty of places to stop, plenty of places to grab a seat. The stalls were well spaced. There were a couple of really small ones, but obviously the stall holders book the size and then they choose how to lay it out. So there were a couple where I had to kind of go in my wheelchair, took up the entire space. But it wasn't the end of the world. Like, people were really nice about it. People up north tend to be really nice. I don't do a lot of going down south because I know the people up north are really friendly. So I'm a big advocate of going up there. God, sorry, my fog is really bad today. Yes, so it was lovely. It was really, really nice. And there were quite a few people there. So there were the Cox triplets from Knit 3 Together, who I have been desperate to meet for so long. And I bumped into them, I was like, proper. They were just amazing. I've messaged them before in the past and had nice little online chats with them, but it was so nice to meet them in person. And they are every bit as lovely in person. In fact, probably more so than they come across because they're being sisters together in their podcast. They're amazing. And if you are interested in mental health, they are the sort of people to go and speak to because they offer solutions. I am still working on recovery and would love to be able to offer solutions to people and be more helpful, but I am not helping myself right now. So I can't do that. I can listen. I'll always listen, but I can't always offer support or the right answers or whatever. So, but those girls are brilliant. I mean, Terry especially, she does an awful lot. It's obvious she does a lot of reading around the area. And she has a really good understanding, not just of her own mental health, but of her sisters as well. And brilliant. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. 1 second, someone at the door. Oh, like magic. It wasn't anyone exciting. They weren't actually at my door. They were just lurking. But the dog was about to launch. So anyway, Walmonty. So yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. It was so well organised. I really, really hope they do it again because it just didn't feel that. I mean, I love Yarndale, don't get me wrong. The community and the sense of festival and celebration, and I have met some incredibly good friends there. But at the same time, it's mad busy. Like, it is mad on a Saturday. And we deliberately book tickets, my mum and I, and pick where we're going to start so that the crowds come to me and I don't enter into a crowd because I cannot cope with that. It is, at times, it's a bit much. And there isn't always an easy way out to get to somewhere where you can grab a bit of fresh air. There's plenty of places to go, but they're not always very easy to get to. And it's just because of the shape of the venue and whatever. And once you've been once, you know whether it's for you. And you know what I mean? Don't feel, if you can't cope with something, that you've missed out because you've given it a shot. Last year I really struggled. But then I was an idiot and I was determined that I was going to be walking better and all that, and I was hurting myself at the same time. So I do think you have to be, if you're going to need to take it slower, you're going to need to do the weekend. That's what I will say on it. But I still go back every year, so it can't be that bad, can it? But the Walmonty was brilliant for, even between one aisle was so well spaced. I never once felt in my wheelchair that I was in the way. Never once. It never felt like it was especially overcrowded. Everyone seemed to have room to breathe. Everyone seemed to have room to chat. There didn't seem to be any of that kind of rushing around and bad mood sort of thing. It was brilliant. It was really a nice experience and an opportunity to meet and chat to people. But not only did I meet the Cox triplets, Tony, Terry and Stephanie. I don't know why. I always try to rename Stephanie something beginning with a T, and it annoys me. But I also bumped into Smoggy Knits, who'd taken Geordie Knits, Katie down. And obviously I've mentioned her before. I've been test knitting with her, and the lovely Laura from the Lonely Knitter podcast was there. Ishrat from Fruitful Frusions, Molly, who I have known from Yarndale. She's one of the people that I would class now as a good friend. She does Rockamolly. She's an arty lady. I'll show you what I've got from her. Verity, there was just, and Hannah from the Corner of Craft with her wonderful dye and their amazing stitch markers. I finally have one. Yeah, it was just really nice, and because of the way it was done and managed, it was brilliant. And my best friend, who isn't knitty or crochet or yarny in any way, really enjoyed it, and actually was sort of like the arty side of things, the sewing side of things, I'm really interested in. I think I've dragged her into the dark side. Yes. So yeah, I'll show you what I got there. So as we've spoken about Molly does these brilliant drawings. It looks like it's backwards. I hope it's not backwards. It's Crafty Animals if it is. Look, my daughter started colouring it in. She's put these into a book. So there's a cat. What's the cat doing? The cat is sewing. Let's have another one. Big Balls Hippo. Obviously, I was going to like Big Balls Hippo. And these all can be coloured in. My daughter loves a bit of colouring, bless her. Let's find another one. Look at that dog. So there's loads, but I saw one in particular. Sorry, I told you I couldn't get up the stairs. Probably sitting on the floor wasn't the best plan either. But hey, I like to punish myself for having a body that doesn't work. My son, Joshua, his absolute favourite thing in the world is a giraffe. He loves them. And there's a spinning one. Isn't that amazing? So I'm going to get that framed, and I'm going to get it put up on the sort of landing bit that we have. So this is Molly, Rockamolly. You can find her on Instagram. I want to say Etsy, but I'm not 100% sure it's actually Etsy. Find her on Instagram or Facebook, and you'll be able to use the links from there. And if you're not on social media, I understand why, but you need to be. Rockamolly is your lady. And then I got one of these, a unicorn sticker. And I love that unicorn because it's not like, oh, I'm a horse with a horn. It's a proper unicorn. Look at that, with a cutie mark and everything. I haven't decided where I'm going to stick him, but that made me very happy. And I got some badges. Do you want to see my badges? So I have my little... This is my Mother's Day from a couple of years ago. Joshua made this for me. There's Joshua's handsies and Joshua's feetsies, and he sewed me a brooch this year. So I'm very slowly, because I use it to take things out, you know, when you're going out with your kids or whatever. So we've got Geordie Knits, The Lonely Knitter, Hawkshaw Sheep, New Massive Wang, Chromatic Yarns, by Stitchual. We're just not going to go there today. Yarnivore, Brad, if you're watching this, husband, Yarnivore, Google it, you will find that they do hoodies and t-shirts. Your wife would like one, thank you please, Christmas. Bigger Big Pants, because sometimes you just can't find your own big pants when you need to pull your big pants on and just crack on. So I went with that. Yarn Hoe, which is a pretty accurate representation of me. We've got knit, hook and socks there, which I've had for a little while. So this is becoming a little bag of things. Oh, about tablets, how very exciting. So I got those from Molly, and she is absolutely fabulous. I also got a couple more badges, but I gave them to Grace, my bestie, so she could take them home. I also got lanolin balm. I get really sore hands. It's the wheelchair. But my husband also suffers from really dry skin on his feet. It's not athlete's fault, it's just minging. So we put that on him, and I also put it on my son's eczema. Now I know there's also that people have allergy issues when it comes to eczema, but it does help him loads. And apparently I'm growing a spot on my chin. It's nice and red for you today. I'm probably going for the glam today, aren't I? I'm really selling myself. Been away for months, and then thanks for putting up with me. So that was what I got. But most importantly, can we get down to the really, really important stuff? I also, isn't it so pretty? I wanted something that was neutralish, but I can't just do plain neutrals. This is by the Project Bag. It's called Myra. There was actually a lady sat there that was the yarn was named after her, but Gemma, I've remembered your name, Gemma. Gemma of the Project Bag was also a teacher and now is a yarny lady. So I felt like she was a kindred spirit, and I literally went around the entire place looking for something very, very specific. Now, I'm not going to show you a picture of it right now because it's actually another test knit, and it's called the Catechu, Catechu. When I've finished it, I'll pop pictures, we'll do it properly, I'll be upstairs in my little crafty spot and it'll be fine. My brain has gone completely blank. I'm like having a real... Yarn Flakes is the lady on Instagram, and it's a French and English pattern, and I am test knitting for that, and it's a very, very, it's that sort of style at the moment where it's like that. The tenure sort of was one of those where it's lacy at the bottom, obviously not here, but it's lacy along the bottom, and then it kind of, this one's A-line and it's got longer sleeves. It's very me, and I was like, I really like the idea of knitting this so that I can wear it over my long dresses and stuff in the summer. But I wanted something that wasn't grey or a neutral, but equally had that sort of beautiful flecked hand-dyed quality. I want to try helical knitting for alternating skeins, because I'm rubbish at alternating skeins and I want to be better. And my husband, bless his heart, was like, I've been talking about it and I've been going on, I've been looking at commercial yarn. I was like, does that work? Will that work? I need to go to a shop and see it knit up. And ordinarily, I that's what I would do. But he sort of said, look, I'd saved some money for a game. I downloaded the sample. I actually didn't like it. Here's the money I was going to spend on this game. Do you want to go and get yourself some hand-dyed for this test knit that you're going to do? Which was, he's a good one, isn't he, really? I know I moan about him. But... oh, it smells of sheep. I love that smell. But it's merino, it's superwash merino, 75-25. So you could use it for socks, 4-ply fingering weight, 425 meters. So basically, it's standard stuff, but it's made so beautifully. So I absolutely love it. Thank you very much, Gemma. And do you know what she even did? Because I have had in the past, she's quite big, she's at quite a lot of shows I go to, so I'm not going to name her. But I bought 4 skeins for something many, many moons ago. It was the very first hand-dyed yarn I ever bought. I didn't even know what it was when I first bought it. And they didn't match. And I'd literally said to her, I've never bought yarn like this before. And I was dead excited. And predominantly at the time, I was just using commercial yarn. And I still predominantly do. But I didn't have the knowledge. And she said, she sort of saw me off. Number one, I didn't have enough for the pattern of hers that I was knitting. And number two, the skeins were so different and she didn't tell me to alternate. It was the most disappointing knit ever. I have since ripped it out, reskeined it into the 3 or 4 that I had and given it to other people for other things because it made me so cross. And that's when I learned about alternating. It's also when I learned about hand-dyed a lot more. And I was really, really cross because they weren't clearly the same dye lot, and they were very different, and I was really disappointed. But with the project bag, Gemma, it wasn't that. She was like, oh, these two are quite starkly, oh, this one's... So she went into her little stock box and she was like, right, let's pick 4 that match. Now I know there's several people who dye yarn that I have heard say that they do exactly the same. But for me, having had the experiences I've had in the past, that was a really, really nice touch. Really nice of her. So I really, really appreciated that she did that. I'm really excited to get started, but I'm also slightly addicted to my So Faded at the minute. So I think I'm going to crack on with the So Faded. And when I get to that point where I'm like sick to death of stocking stitch, I'll start this, because obviously it's a test and I have a deadline, but I've got time. So that was that. The project bag. And look, brown paper bags. That's all the way. Oh, I have got one thing to show you. Molly drew me a picture. It's a mermaid. She always says I'm a mermaid that's just out of water, and that makes me really happy. She drew me a mermaid. I've got it up on my wall upstairs. I'll show you next time if I remember. But she says I'm a mermaid out of water, and that makes me so happy. Like, yeah, it just makes me really smile. And then the last thing I got, this was a bargain. 2 for £12. 500 grams, so I got 2. It's the same colour because it's 4-ply. I don't know how much I need, clearly not this much, but I want to do some colour work. And I was going to join in with the Lonely Knitter and Geordie Knits, Katie and Laura's, all the way around, stranded colour work along, but then as soon as there's anything that I need to join in, the anxiety kicks in and I don't feel good and I get imposter syndrome and blah, 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 blah. But when I was at the Monty, I think it was Tony who said to me, you should try the Fern and Feather. So I think I'm going to get some neutral cream or something like that to go with this. I'm going to have a go. This is quite nice, actually. The guy was like, I said, oh, do you have a business card? No, I've got a real job in the week, love. Probably the wrong event, mate, if you're going to speak to women like that. But never mind. Maybe it was just the end of the day and he was sick to the death of being asked the same question, hey. But this is gorgeous. I haven't opened the bag yet, so rustle, 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 rustle. I know people get annoyed with that. I ain't bothered. It's not super, 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 super soft. But it wouldn't drive me insane. So I'm going to have a go. Cute little ball. It's very much a me colour. So I'm going to have I say that, I have a couple of ideas for it, because it's not merino soft smooth. But you see, you don't want that for colour work, from what I've seen, do you? You want something with a bit of tooth. So that's why I'm thinking it might be quite good for that. It's also 4-ply, and the Fern and Feathers worsted. But I want to do colour work, and I'm thinking that might be quite good for it. Or it's going to be another cardigan. Who knows? There's enough there to do a couple of things with it. Excuse me. And I'd also, I don't really know what I want to make. I've just got a couple of ideas in my mind. So I bought that. That's probably going to be used in the summer because I have a plan. Whatever I cast on next, I would like to do with either a linen or a cotton. And I'd like to make something that I can wear in the summer. I've made the Bencham and that kind of inspired me. So if anyone's got any suggestions, pop me a comment, because I have my notifications on, so it will pop up. I might not reply because I'm an arsehole. But I'd like to knit something for the summer. Not necessarily a throw, maybe a top, an actual top that I can wear. In linen or something like that. I'm not good with a crop because that tummy area is something that I'm quite self-conscious about. But I'd like to knit something like that summer, so maybe with a linen. So any yarn suggestions or any pattern suggestions, that would be brilliant, because I'd really like to do that. But my plan is for the summer, and if you fancy doing it as a knit along, maybe we should do that. My plan is for the summer that I will knit for the winter. So I'm going to do a summer of sweaters. And my summer of sweaters is going to start with my cable cardigan that I was doing. I've kind of just abandoned it because I've made a mistake. I got cross with it. So I thought once the kids finish, that's when I start watching. And I know a lot of spinners do Tour de Fleece, but I start watching the Tour de France. So I thought that when the Tour de France starts, that would be a good point for me to start my summer of sweaters. And when my kids go back to school, so September the 1st, I normally have chance to kind of finish what I haven't had a chance to do. So maybe we'll go from 1st of July through to the end of September, which would give us right up until the end of Yarndale. Somebody sat outside my car. You can probably hear them having a loud conversation with their people. All that drives me mad. It really does. Anyway. Oh God. I'm having one of those days where my moods are like, I'm happy, I want to kill you. I'm happy, I'm so sad. I'm happy, I want to kill you. So right now, when I said at the beginning that I had a personality disorder, I'm not a serial killer. I have my moments. Joking. So yeah, and I've also recently discovered a love for higher sharps. I've been slowly building up a little collection. There's one thing I haven't shown you. There's a new member of the family. My new knitting friend. Also from the Wool Monty, but my new knitting friend. Can we see? This Hermione Hedgehog. I named her. This is Hermione. And Hermione is my new knitting buddy. She's helping me at the moment mark where I've started the solid of the colour changes, so I can measure the distance so that we have a good gap. But yeah, oh God, Hannah's so clever. My mum beads. She does a lot of very intricate beading, but I just love them. I was very torn. There was that, a unicorn, sloth, oh, a dragon. I may have to just buy more. But yeah, that's Hermione. Hermione is my new knitting buddy, because I couldn't get Grace to start knitting. She'll sew and she might do art, but she doesn't want to knit. Boo. So yeah, I'm going to do the summer of sweaters, and maybe we'll throw in, a new knitting buddy for you, and some bits and pieces, and we'll pick a winner or two. There won't be loads because, guys, I'm providing this myself, and I'm a very poor person. We're doing it for community though, we're not doing it for prizes. We're doing it to do something together. And the summer of sweaters means that when the weather gets rubbish, which is usually sort of starts turning October, we'll have sweaters to wear. Maybe just one, maybe two, but we'll do a summer of sweaters. If nobody else wants to join in, I'll do it on my own. That's fine. And that's about it. That's all I have to tell you. I've been away for forever and I have bugger all to speak about, but I've done it now, so hopefully I should be back next week. Fingers crossed. Whatever you're doing, have an incredibly fun week. Enjoy your weekend and try and get some time in for yourself to do some making, because it makes the world go round, doesn't it? And now I've done it, I'll be back in the swing of things and slightly less manic next week. Bye!